Hello, nerds and nerdettes, and welcome to a trailer talk about two trailers that came out today that I'm going to get into. A lot of people are probably talking about the Final Fantasy VII Remake DLC additional chapter thing. Um, it's obviously featuring Yuffie, so a lot of people are going to be talking about that. Um, and there's also a mobile compilation that has like a bunch of stuff. So we'll get into all that. So I'm gonna kind of just jump right into it. But yeah, so we're gonna check this out. So I'm gonna keep the volume kind of down. So hopefully it doesn't get, copywritten or whatever. But so of course we start with the typical Final Fantasy VII remake interlude and stuff like that. And you know what? This is, I feel like a dummy. This is just the but this is just kind of like looking at the graphics and stuff like that between the two. I'm not gonna lie. There are some differences, but I don't notice a huge difference. Um, I, I don't know. I mean, right here you can notice some differences and stuff like that. And I mean, so they're looking at textures and stuff. And so I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here. I mean, if you've seen this, if you're watching it here for the first time, then I apologize. But I don't see a crap ton. Like, I don't see that much of a difference. I do see a difference, but not that much of a difference. So we have that. So they talk about the quality of life improvements, graphic optimization, normal classic, which people have been asking for a while. Obviously, all this is being upgraded to PS5 for free. Photo mode. I mean, I get it. Whatever, but and then there's the new episode including Yuffie. So there's a new character. They're doing like this whole new chapter that is including Yuffie, and this is not the trailer for it, but this is just like the. Okay, so you get to see Yuffie there, and I'll bring up the other trailer here in a second. This was my bad, but I mean, okay, so you get to see the intergrade expansion, which takes it from PS4 to PS5, yada yada, so on and so forth. Okay, so I'm gonna fix this really quick. But anyway, so I don't know if this is gonna be like a great thing. I mean, yeah, it's the shoot. Yeah, I know, I screwed this up. Okay. So here is the actual trailer that we can talk about that I wanted to talk about, but I was too stupid to do the whole thing. So, all right. So in the trailer here, of course, you have the very beginning of Final Fantasy VII Remake, that epic intro, but we're kind of they kind of rehash some stuff, from Final Fantasy VII, which I don't know why this is even. I mean, besides giving us like nostalgia feels, maybe. Um, I don't know. I don't even think there's a purpose with the Yuffie thing with this. Like, I could see if it was tied in somehow, but I really don't think it is. So of course we get our boy Cloud running, jumping at Sephiroth from the remake, and here we go into the new stuff. So right here we have a mystery character looking through a scope, and she goes to fall. Which we all know who this is at this point because I've said her name a couple times. Yuffie. So So here's my thing. Okay, so if you heard that she said that she's a part of the Wu Tai Special Forces, I don't ever remember Yuffie being a part of the Wu Tai Special Forces. Now, granted, if they want to add this to her story to expand her story, that's fine. I don't want this additional content for remake part 1. I would rather them put the effort into making the remake part 2. Honestly, if you wanted to start the remake part 2 with this, like with this kind of side plot, because Yuffie does come along relatively soon after you leave Midgar, like not totally soon, but if they were going to give us any additional content in the Final Fantasy VII Remake, I want something with Red 13 where you can play as Red 13, whether it's before he got captured, whether it's, I don't know, Dr. Hojo's experiments on him, and he was like had him in the training simulator, and you're fighting things. I don't know, but I would much rather have something Red 13 based, not Yuffie based. Yuffie's fine, but I really feel like that they should have maybe started. You know how sometimes when you start a sequel to a game, and it's like you don't start with the characters you think you're starting with. This would have been fine. Like if we would have done like the first like interlude chapter to part 2 with Yuffie, and and you start off with her, and then you go back to the main cast after they're walking away from Midgard. That's fine. But this is just kind of, I don't know. It's kind of blah. Like I don't want this right now. If it's fine in part 2, but like if they were going to do anything additional, I'd want them to do something with Thread 13. So I'm going to continue on this before I keep tangenting. On top of that, Yuffie Special Forces, why? Why? Like even in the story of Final Fantasy VII, the original, why? I don't ever remember there was a reason. And also, it obviously is like we get some side story of when they lost Cloud. So obviously, Yuffie's kind of bridging that gap between when Cloud fell in Sector 5, I think. In Sector 5, and then he fell all the way. This is what happened while Cloud was with Aerith. You obviously have a new side piece. This probably is going to feel a lot like Final Fantasy 13 too, where you have Sarah and what's his face? I don't remember his name now, but like you have the girl and the guy combo, and it's just the two of them. So obviously you can see some of the. I mean, it looks a lot of the same combat. I don't feel like they've improved the combat any. Kind of cool looking, but as I said, you could have really started out Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 with Yuffie with this. I think she's using some kind of slow magic. So, I mean, that would probably be new. So, I don't know. I mean, this seems very, I don't know. And I'm not your sister. What does that even mean? Okay, and here comes the most confusing part. So, I cannot remember, but I know in the game Dirge of Cerberus, there was like this whole literally underground organization under Midgar that like had these special troopers and special soldiers and was some Shinra special experiment. Is this that? Because I really have absolutely positively no idea. So I mean, yeah, so we might be getting, I guess, some of that, the prelude to that from Dirge of Cerberus. So and now whoever this guy, now wait. So who is this guy? So I don't know if this is somebody that I'm supposed to know. I mean, I'm assuming he's just a Wu Tai bad guy who followed Yuffie, or maybe he's one of the people from the underground Midgar. I can't remember. Is it Sector 0? Like how they have like the Sector 1 through 8, but there's like a Sector 0 or something like that, and that's what the underground organization was called in Midgar. And there was like a whole Midgar plant down there. So I don't know. I don't know much about this part. So yeah, this is kind of, I mean, who is this guy? What is he? I don't know. As I said, this could have been a great way to start off Final Fantasy Remake Part 2. Okay, so the next part that we're going to take a look at, and I mean, as I've kind of said all I needed to say on that. Okay, so the next part I want to look at is there is this mobile, what is it called? It's called Ever Crisis. This came out also today, I believe. It came out 1 hour ago. And it's very odd. So we're going to take a look at this. All right, so another possibility for a remake. Why? We already have a remake. Like, we have a remake. We don't need... I mean, if this is like... If this is an epic return to Final Fantasy's world with a nostalgic visual twist. So if this is like a beat for beat remake with just the chibi characters, at least that's what it looks like. Like, I mean, if you look at them, I mean, they look like those cutesy chibi characters. Maybe in the vein of like Before Crisis style text and stuff. It doesn't look like they actually talk per se. But why do we need this? Why? I don't know. I mean, as I said, at this rate, I can just go play the original Final Fantasy VII. Maybe my son, who is 14, will enjoy this. Agent Tim Gamer. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But it seems beat for beat the exact same Final Fantasy VII, and I don't know if this is going to be just Midgar or if it's going to be like a mixture of like the remake and the original, just with chibi characters. I don't really know. So we have, and I really don't think this is going to be the beat for beat the remake. I think it's going to be more along the lines of the original. It's probably going to be more like a 10-12 hour adventure. See, and it kind of looks turn-based right here. Like, it looks like in the fighting, they're actually like, they look like the remake versions, but when they're running around on the map, it's something different. But I also feel like it looks turn-based. Okay, so here's what I wanted to pause on. So right here, it says featuring an entire compilation of Final Fantasy VII and more. So I'm guessing that this includes Final Fantasy VII, obviously. The movie Advent Children, the Before Crisis Final Fantasy VII, which I believe was a PSP game, I believe, or a Nintendo DS game, maybe. I don't remember. Crisis Core, which I know was a PSP game. And then Dirge of Cerberus, which was a PlayStation 2 game, which I have played. I haven't played Crisis Core. I've seen somebody play Crisis Core. I watched it on YouTube. Before Crisis, I've never played. I've only seen parts of it. And obviously, I own Advent Children. And Dirge of Cerberus, I've obviously played to its entirety. So I mean, I like the fact that we might be getting Crisis Core because I've never played it, and it would be nice to play it. And Before Crisis, I've never played that either. Advent Children I already own. Dirge of Cerberus technically I already own. But yeah, this is kind of weird. I don't know what the point is here. And then here you have Zack running along which I'm guessing is a Crisis Core reference, if I remember correctly. So it's going to be available worldwide in 2022. It's just this is kind of weird. I don't know what to make of all this. With the obviously I know what to make of the Yuffie edition and stuff like that. It's just kind of, I wish this would have been in part 2. They need to focus their efforts on part 2. I don't want them to be adding more content to 7 Remake. 7 Remake was a complete game, in my opinion. It was a great, complete game. I don't need any extras. I don't need any DLC. Work on part 2. Get me something for part 2. If this were the way they started part 2, fine. That's fine. I'll deal with it. I mean, Yuffie's not exactly my favorite character, but I don't hate the idea. And I would, if they did any DLC, I'd want them to do something with Red 13. That would be something that I really, really want. And then the mobile stuff and the compilation of all the games and stuff like that. It is what it is. I'm a Final Fantasy mark. I love my Final Fantasies. I know I'm not proving it right now because I'm playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and Breath of Fire on there, but eventually here, once I get done with Breath of Fire, I might move on to a certain Final Fantasy game and do a retro Let's Play of that. We'll see what happens. Anyway, yeah, so thanks for joining me in looking through these trailers that I thought were pretty odd and weird. And we also did a live reaction to the Let's Play Today from Sony on the Nerd Nation channel. You can find it anywhere on my channel. I'm very involved in that channel, but this is my gaming channel, so I figured I would release something regarding the regarding this final, I usually anything Final Fantasy I usually release on here anyway. I might even upload this on the Nerd Nation too, who knows. But anyway, if you guys haven't, please comment, like, and subscribe on this video or any other content that you see on this channel. If you're watching this on Nerd Nation, please comment, like, and subscribe, and please check out all our other content. We work really hard, and we do a lot of just fun stuff that we have fun doing. Anyway, I thank you all for joining me and with this little topic discussion, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Catch you later.